United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The man shows up. She doesn't. Approved minutes from July 14th, 2025 regular city council meeting.
I think I have a small question. I believe Mr. Mayor read the citations for meritorious conduct.
You are correct.
It wasn't.
I was going to say that I leave these in there to be fine. He finds all the date.
Move to approve your minutes from the meeting of July.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we're going to move in the consent agenda. I probably should have done this before we started. E, we're going to move to Public Works and Zoning Director to new business. And it'll be letter E. We'll leave police chief, where is that? Good, Rick? Yes, sir. So consent agenda, approve payments and disbursements, approve part-time liquor store clerk hire, approve EMT hire, approve crossing guard agreement with ISD 299, approve anniversary step increase for police chief Zender.
Got a question about the part-time liquor store hire. Did we do a background check?
I believe so, but if everything is contingent on that. So if you don't feel that's when we will move forward.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Any discussion? John, you good? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public comment? Okay. Casey?
All right, just a few here tonight. Street department, belt saw patches in the pavement, getting ready to do some manhole adjustments, and then getting prepared for paver to come through hopefully in a few weeks to a month. Jake and I have had a few meetings with MnDOT in the last couple of weeks again. One on roundabout, one about the Warrior Ave extension. Just kind of talking through the requirements and design. Light department's been busy working on some power install up at the Rawlings facility. Other than that, today they prepped the ball fields for the last time for the season. So just kind of keeping up on the normal stuff anyways. Water, the two hydrants were replaced last week that we approved a few meetings ago. Sewer, not a whole lot of movement down in that new wastewater project. Kind of waiting for the contractor to respond and keep up on getting things moving forward here. Looks like we're going to be a while yet. Just not a whole lot of progress lately. Stormwater, a few weeks back, or a few meetings back rather, when we had approved replacing a manhole and maybe some pipe sections. We got a camera in there and just double checked to make sure that we weren't going to be opening up a big can of worms. Some of those sections look better than I anticipated. So we're going to do, instead of like a removal of a 100-foot section of the street, we'll just replace the manhole. And there's a product we can inject in the joints from the inside of the pipe to seal up some of the offsets and bad joints. And then we will use global fill through the whole of the street. So we should be able to save quite a bit of money on that option. So hoping that'll be our hero on that one. Parks and buildings, I think I updated last time. Light department guys have pretty well finished painting up most of the buildings at the park. Got material coming here to get that press box built. And then we'll be looking at getting that commodity shed going here hopefully in the next month or so as well. Zoning, we'll be seeing snowpack here tonight. And then in a few weeks, we've got some public use of land agreements that are set to expire here in the next month. So some properties that are still located on, or buildings rather located on city property. We'll have to bring to you guys and see what we want to do with from there. That's what I got.
Casey, I forgot about this for a month and a half with the roofs on the ball field.
Yep.
That we raised a little bit of money for, and you still need $1,000. I got $5,000 for you yet, or
I believe that's about where we're sitting.
we're good if I find, all right. I forgot to talk about that. Jake?
Okay, so I'll touch on Warrior a little bit too. Last Monday, Casey, the mayor, and I went to the school board meeting where they going to give us a transfer over Warrior, the land that sits underneath it. Today we got an estimate from MnDOT for how much they think it's going to cost. I can say we don't agree with that number, so we're going to look into that a little bit more. And they kind of pointed us to some other funding sources where we're likely to go through the local something partnership and the local road improvement program. So just two big grants that we've applied for in the past. So actually the application is already sitting on the shelf, so it won't cost us anything. It shouldn't be to put those through. And hopefully that means we're going to get funded. This morning we sat in, Casey, the mayor, and myself sat in for a meeting with an engineer, not one employed by MnDOT, but one that's planning on applying for this. They're studying the next phase of 44, which means from us to Spring Grove, and what that's going to mean for. We know there's going to be some intersections that don't jive and some things that need to be realigned and some improvements made, but I cannot tell you when all that's going to happen. Tomorrow I'm going to Elbert Lee tomorrow night for a Southeastern Minnesota League of Municipalities meeting. Recent events have made that the agenda changed to quite a bit of public safety for elected officials and safety in city halls and things like that. But I'm going mostly, there is a state and federal funding component to this. That's a very big draw for that meeting. I sit on that board, so it's a good one to go to, but tomorrow will be particularly interesting because federal and state funding is very much on our mind right now. But that meeting tomorrow should line up a lot with what we've been working on. And then I'll just throw a plug out that National Night Out is next Tuesday, August 5th, and we will have our annual deal at the pool and in the surrounding areas. So I don't know what time it's usually 5 to 8, I think, maybe 6 to 8. So make sure you stop up there if you got a free evening.
Good, boss. New business land use application at 521 Enterprise Drive.
All right. Everybody have a chance to take a look through the staff report on the site plans. All right, so guys, the snowpack here are looking to build a 30,000 square foot cold storage facility. See by the print, majority of it's cold storage with the loading dock and some office and restroom space. Kind of go right through the staff report prepared for the last meeting as well. They're currently fruit and vegetable processing packing facility located in an Iowa industrial park. Current use and the proposed new building are both permitted uses in this district. They need more storage space for finished products. Equipment also, the facility needs to have fire sprinklers for Minnesota Fire Code, which is a driving force behind them guys needing to install a 10-inch water main from the city street to this new building location. So going on a proposal, 30,000 square foot building, cold storage, loading docks, bathroom, office space, 15 parking stalls to the east, approximately 30,000 square feet of driveway, truck loading area. Infrastructure wise, we're putting in about 5 catch basins, pipe, and expanding the current stormwater retention pond to direct all that runoff that way for the stormwater management side. The 10-inch water main from Enterprise Drive to the new facility, and 1 fire hydrant near the new building. So what we'd be looking to do here is have those guys install that at their cost, and the city typically picks up the fire hydrant on developments. So we'd be looking to purchase that and provide it to those guys and have the contractor install if you agree with that. So they'd have to draft an easement on just a portion of it, so there's already a 40-foot easement that exists on the majority of the site. So that will happen after everything's installed. And then we could dedicate that one to the city to own. Just typical, when you have a main that size and hydrant, we should be operating as part of our system. The proposed building meets all setbacks and height requirements. Lighting plan, there's photometric sheet here. Everything stays within their site. No issues there. There's a EMS access map as well. That's pretty clear and open. Yes, that's really covers it. I mean, everything looks good on the building. We'll have sufficient utilities, access. You guys are finished taking a look whenever you're ready. I guess I would be looking for a motion to approve the land use application and provide one.
Which way does it look, drain? It looks like it's a one directional slope up. Is that the east?
It drains east to several downspouts and leaders and flooding system.
Is the, so that would be fed with PVC, I suppose, underground?
Yep.
Or,
I'll make the motion to approve.
one more question, I guess. Looking at this, the gray areas here, is that the water retention?
That's the photometrics for the lighting.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Here's the green field.
For the stormwater fund. It would be to the west. Sheet. Sheet C4 has got a pretty good view with a lot of contours. Sheet C5 shows building of all the stormwater infrastructure and an outlook.
Yeah. And this is west of the building.
Yeah, it's an existing pond that'll be upside to meet the
That's pretty
capacity.
good size.
Yeah. Top of that.
Okay. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, I'll second David's motion.
Any discussion? Sounds good. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming.
Good luck with that. Great project.
We appreciate you growing. All right, B is phone stipend.
This is a request, I've brought this multiple times, 2 years ago we brought it as well, but so there prior to 2017, somewhere in 2017, there was a deal made with some people on staff that the city would either provide a phone or provide $25 a month stipend for the use of their phones. We changed that last with the custodian because when we got a CDL, then we would be plowing, so we need callback purposes, so we got to stipend them. Now, the problem that we have is a lot of everybody's computer requires multi-factor authentication, and then we have a lot of different things that require more authentication. So the request was made if the clerk's office staff, so there would be utility billing clerk, my assistant. Does Shelley need, is Shelley part of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, really, all of us
Yeah.
have multi-factor authentication, and the problem is some of them places don't let you put your email in. I tried to email it to my work email, but they want a phone, where you can't send it to the phone here, 3450 landline. So you have to send it to your cell phone, and it just become more and more. Tracy probably has the most payroll stuff.
Yeah,
Everything wants to authenticate to your cell phone right now to pay any kind of taxes, your EFTPS, your Department of Revenue, your para. Because I did some of her stuff the other day. I was Tracy last Monday. And looking at that, let's just say I was Tracy for the day.
yeah.
Don't tell anybody that.
I suppose everybody has their own plan.
Yes.
So it'd be pretty hard to put everybody on a city plan.
Yes, and I'm guessing, I don't know off the top of my head, but I would think the stipend is cheaper than a plan.
It is. We do have, of course, our PDL has city phones, but they have two more. So we do have two others that I can think of on there that are on, chose to not take the stipend and wanted a city phone, which was what was given the option always in the past, but it's still that. About $40 to $43 is a phone plan through the state for us. And a lot of that is too that some people are like, oh, that seems expensive, but we are considered more of a public safety. So the plan is unlimited, but it is like all the guys, like if we had a natural disaster, our phones here are going to work before any of you people, if there's something to happen. We have right of first access to service because of public safety. So again, it's $40 to $43. So the stipend is less.
You get the price of doing business. You gotta do it, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's one of those things that seems like a small deal, but with the way our business operates now, it's a lot of authentication and then, yeah, they just don't see you in on Martin's. That's what drove me nuts about this, you know.
Yeah.
So is there anybody that is getting it
I'm not,
in the office?
but I don't really, I mean, what I should have done is I should have gotten the city phone 3 years ago and I didn't, so that's that should be, yeah.
I'll move to approve this phones stipend for people listed. That's good enough.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Steph, you have the stage.
Okay. Another quarter, we've been discussing, and then it's almost in July already. So we'll start with cash and investments. Through the end of June, as you can see, we're sitting at the $8,016,799. Increase of 60,000, as you can see, kind of the ups and downs through April and May. Changes in cash. 5.7 of that, of course, is cash and money market. 2.2 being investments, type of issue. And then as you can see, too, through June, a lot of the funds, of course, keep going down, down, down. Now in July, we did get our first half property tax, which, I normally do the percentage out. I did not, but I might have done it. It's usually over the 50% because, some people do pay the whole year in their first disbursement. So we usually receive more than 50% of what we levy. Right around 60, probably, maybe 65. And then the second half of the LGA, if you remember, we received roughly 9% back in February, was it, of the LGA, due to something that was set by the legislature to pay LGA early this year. So really, we got 41% of it, the rest of it. So now we've received all half of the LGA in July. And then the small cities assistance also we received for 2,895. That's kind of supposed to be, if I remember right, for streets. It's for cities that are, under the 5,000 that don't get street aid. So the 13.8, and of course we'll get the second half in December. Otherwise, like general fund, that's not too bad. We dwindle down, because of course there's not much for revenues coming in. Around July, we'll get our first half of everything, and we're gonna bounce back up. Kind of the same.
Quick question, and I don't know why I haven't noticed this before, 'cause it seems like it's always been that way, but why does the electric company have so much money in checking?
Well, I have been moving more back into investments. They did have more in there. And being sometimes we don't know, when we've talked about different kind of projects or purchases and whether we're going to borrow from them. I'm always hesitant to tie it in a CD for 2 years, 3 years or something. So yes, I probably let the cash go up some, but and we were receiving really a pretty good, that $2 million in cash is not just at the bank, it swipes into the ICS, which is, there's 2 ICSs actually. It sweeps in and out at night into an ICS where it collects interest. But then some of this is sweeping, actually, majority of this actually sweeping into a money market ICS, which is even higher in interest. So it's still liquid, but we were probably getting close to 4. I think around now. I just noticed on the statement though, it did go back down, and they don't really tell you what months or when it just all of a sudden it kind of dropped again. But yeah, we were getting about 4 in there, so we were doing really well. So it seemed like a lot of cash, but it was in a money market side, which really I have to move it in to actually write a check out of the checking.
Well, at least you get more than 0.2%.
Right. So I've been kind of leaving a little more of the regular cash, just if we're unsure if something is coming up. And I can think of a few things where I was like, well, talked about doing a transfer from the electric. Do I tie it up in a CD or not? And if I was getting not far off from what I could get on a CD, I thought, well, then I'm just going to leave it in money market and then it's something that would take it back in.
That answers my question.
They did drop it some, so now I might have to reevaluate what's going on there and move it in. And there again, just be a little more structured on when we think we might need it.
They're always going to carry more cash than the department because they're self-insured. So if they have some type of catastrophe, they're on the hook for it. So they'll always need, maybe not 2 million, but they'll always keep more cash than any other department.
Like in May here, if you look at them and the 352, actually I put about $1 million into CDs, just short of $1 million between the 3 funds, between the electric, the 352, the capital improvement one, and actually 601, the water fund. I threw into some CDs because anticipating that they were going to drop maybe that rate at the bank a little bit. And the other thing was, well, if we can get it into some CDs here before it, which they've been dropping too, but I thought, get it in there before it drops even more, at least for like a year or 2. We just thought, you know what, let's put it in there and let's get it out of there for now. So trying to be a little diverse between all of it. But yeah, I did move some of that and been trying to watch some of the stuff that he sends for CDs and things like that a little bit more. But some of that hasn't been at great rates either, but anything is better than bank. But that doesn't show, that's the thing, the cash checking here, I don't divide it out on here as to how much is in money market cash and what's in regular ICS cash. It gets pretty difficult here to pull it out, but I do have it broke out on another sheet, and that's how I divvy the interest out between some of these funds, of course. So I am making more on that than what you would think. So that's a good question. I'm glad you asked that. But we've been doing that almost maybe 2 years now, actually. They kind of, and actually they just came and met with us in June, July.
Middle or early June.
Yeah, Merchants Bank. We meet with them every summer and we just discuss things we could be doing different. And that was another couple of years ago, was a money market side that you could earn even more. We told that it's an easy thing, but and then might able to transfer that very easily also to move it back if we needed to make a large purchase. Our check is right in the type thing. So otherwise, like you said, it's kind of the time of year everybody dwindles down, especially the ones that are levy, tax funds like library and the fire, things like that. That's levy money coming in. So some of these guys now in July are going to see go back up. They get their first half of their funds, and like I said, it's works its way back down until December to the second half. Yeah, the capital improvement, like I said, I moved some into some investments there, like 2-year, I think maybe, some 1 and 2 year ones. Jake and I we always brainstorm on what will be the best moving into. Water has been going up some, sewer, we had a draw there, so of course we're always up and down on that. Electric, their cash will jump up some more now. It always does kind of this time of year. The billing is a lot higher. If anybody is online and got their bill already, they'll have a lot of calls today already, but so the cash will be kind of influxed up right now just due to summer billing. Rates are 2 cents higher. People tend to forget that they've had the air on for the last month, and again, bills are really high this month, so the hot weather is really taking a toll on that. But, liquor, everybody's going up a little bit here and there. The EDA, we have partial payoff on a loan there, so we jumped up there in the last quarter here too, up to 171. Otherwise, just draws. Some of the debt service ones up there, they had interest due. Yeah, and as you can see, ambulance, we haven't been here since the last quarter. Like in April, they sat with the 295, and of course we go check for the ambulance. So, which was good. The cash was there. We paid for it, and now we'll have to build our way back up. So, what about the next one? So, your second page that has the investments, then I don't know if you can see the ones that I purchased like in June here. They're kind of scattered in, whether it was a 1 year, 2 year, but actually I should have spent this for the last couple months too, but I'm not going to do that. I did have one matured for the electric department there, as you can see, and then I used some of their money market funds, because this money market at the Summit Investments, of course, is a really low return, so trying not to keep, we can get some of that money out and push it in with a CD like when you renew. Seems to be the best way to earn more on that, of course. So, but any earnings, any monthly CD earnings, of course, goes into that money market. So I can either roll it into a CD or request actually to have it transferred back at any point. So like I said, I try to watch that and not let it get too high. If we're not earning much on it, it's not the best bang for our buck there either. But yeah, the next time, like I said, we see all the funds coming in, which is a good thing. Work our way up for the next 6 months. Long-term debt, not a lot changed from first quarter. The regular bonds, like the GO Street and the Product Center ones, like that's all just interest that was paid. Their principals were due back in February. As you can see, the ones that are still due here are all actually PFA loans. So you got well house, 2012 rehab for sewer, and then the wastewater treatment plant. Of course, we're making principal and interest on that. And this is the payment, which I just got the invoice today that's due on the 20th, and that's the 616,092 is what will be due. So you're gonna see a lot of cash going out of sewer, them to our theirs, you know, 423 and the 39. So that's principal and interest for them. At the time, you know, we've drawn 6 million to that. 8 million, 2 maybe is our total. But you know, you gotta remember too, we're paying down as we're going here. So we're probably paying more down as we are drawing. We don't have as much left to draw off, so as we come, hopefully near the end of this project.
And that one too, the note for the sewer plant, I was gonna be careful how I say this, but there was some curiosity in the bookkeeping at PFA. Normally, these things are drawn 50-50 grant money and loan money, and they drew all of our grant first. So we got quite a break on this early interest and all that, which is good. We just don't want to say too loud.
Sound doesn't work anyway, Jake. Nobody can hear you.
Again,
And we're, like I said, there is some, and I guess in the end, if we don't draw it all, that's fine too, you know, but I'm sure we still have some bills yet to pay. So, but we are paying down on it as we're going also. So, yeah, I mean, total, of course, really depth is the 10 million. As of the end. So, it really isn't too bad for all the projects and things that we have.
and very little of that is general fund too.
Right.
The majority of our loans are in the special funds of water, well, water and wastewater rather, so that makes a huge difference as far as what you're levying.
Yeah, the Kingston Street. Otherwise, it's mostly water sewer. You know, even the aquatic center, I think it's only 32. So, really, we don't have, and it goes fast. It's good. Because, really don't say have that much debt compared to what. Yeah, and so, the budget worksheet. I don't know if you went through and had any questions on any of the departments that were in there, the top sheets, of course, the capital. A lot of the stuff that we budgeted has been purchased. There's a few things that haven't at this point, whether they will be or will change, or something's changed with them, but really we kind of followed the schedule, I think, well. You know, even the sidewalk, the pickleball up there, as you can see, everybody knows that's done, so that will, I'll put that one on there next month. Just a couple odd things that are left on there, and really even the special revenue, again, the ambulance is done, and fire has purchased some of the items that they talked about. You know, there really wasn't much in water, sewer, and sewer being mostly just plant stuff going on. Electric really didn't have much of anything. Actually, they didn't even lovely little laptop. We repurposed it on one of them here for Matt, and it was a few $100s. So worked out good. Liquor store, you know, we did. That was in June. You know, we replaced the point of sale. Well, just like any new computer system, a little rough at first, but everything's going really well. New credit card machine in there, things like that. So seems to, like I said, everything's going smoothly. So that's a good thing. And whether roof, I guess we'll talk about it in the fall. And try to do something with the roof. I think there's probably not really the big purchases are, you know, done, which were the sweeper and the ambulance. That was the really high dollar item. It's pretty good. A lot of little projects, like when you're talking about dugout roof, there's things up there. We have a lot of little things yet to do, but not real. As far as general fund, really, everybody's pretty much in line. I really didn't see anything that's over necessarily or had a reason maybe if there's something on there that, I was happy with a lot of the departments. We're at the 50s, even 45%, some even more than that. I guess nothing jumped out at me that one of them had nothing more than anything but unknowns, I guess, that has put us over as far as the general fund. And again, a lot of the revenue is slowly creeping in. Again, it's just replacing their revenue coming in. The other, even library, everybody, I feel like their expenses are kind of right in there, so that's a good thing. Ambulance, the billings, I was pretty conservative, so the billing is showing higher and their expenses are right in there. They just look at the percentage looks high there again, do that. Put the ambulance on there at 269,000. Hard to get a 50% percentage on there. Prior to, once you've finagled a few of their numbers, actually their normal operating expenses are right in there too. So, in utilities, I'm happy with even the sales, the billing side, everybody's kind of right at the 50%, very close, so it's good, we kind of budgeted. And really labor services and things like that are down right now as far as the ordinary repairs and things like that. Water, sewer, and even the electric doesn't have anything. A larger expense that was unplanned that I've seen. I shouldn't say that because we have to talk about it. But Liquor too, a lot of their expenses are right in there. Their sales are probably a little down for mid-year, 45%. So they're down maybe 4 or 5%, but that's not uncommon. Summer here, even July, August is busy. And so he's doing very well also. I'm happy with everything here, really. If you guys see anything in there or have any questions on any departments? As we roll forward, I guess we've spent a lot of time, like Casey said, ball is actually last game tonight at 7 o'clock. So I've had spent a lot of time ball and pool and a lot of things like that. Insurance renewals were just done. Also, you'll see a lot of that too in July. All those bills were paid. You've seen the one the last. So we're on some fire relief audits, regular audits, out, done, just little things to tie up. Talked about the new system at the liquor store, all sorts of things, and catching up on a lot of odd things. And now as we near the end of the month, we're going to try to roll into sending all the departments their paperwork for the new budget for 26. So, and I will start working on that here in August. Maybe try to come the last meeting of August to discuss 26 budget a little bit. First meeting is September. The second, our meetings are the 8th and the 22nd. I think the levy is due, the proposed to the county by the 30th. So we'll set the levy on the 22nd. So we'll kind of plan for that. So maybe talk about it, a couple times ahead of that. You see how this goes, and I can get some preliminary stuff put together, and more or less just questions on capital and things like that. Tim, they can get all the regular operating put together, and then it just becomes what do we want to try to build in, what kind of larger project capital things we didn't talk about today. Seems like we just did the levy, right? Start again.
Thank you. Anybody got any questions for her?
Where to find me if not? Stop in.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Overtime report. Do we have to do anything with steps then?
No, either for the last one or this one. We don't do it.
Overtime report then? Nothing sticks out to you there? Good? You guys good with that? Yeah. So E, we're gonna talk about Public Works and Zoning Director. His, step raise.
Yes, so, I had this through the normal anniversary and step increases, but, through some conversation and review process, I'd like to recommend for Casey Quinn, the Public Works and Zoning Director, that we get a 2-step to step 11 rather than step 10, and it's a difference of about $2,121. But just for quite a bit, that job is not like a job description these days, especially after 8 years of being in the seat. So I'd be very happy to recommend going about that. Just for the sewer plant alone justifies it, but there's quite a bit. And Mr. Quick has saved us many times that number in the last 8 years, I would say.
I guess I have to agree, taking on more work than what the original job description was. I know the planning commission is one of them, but, yeah, what do you say if this on the wastewater treatment plant? I don't know if we'd be where we are today if it wasn't for, I know it's been a battle.
That bill will end up being a few hundred times this request.
I guess, but, yeah, I guess I have to agree with that. I agree with him going up 2 steps, but that's what I think. It's
7 months I've been here, you do a good job, Casey. We appreciate you. So I'm all for it.
That would be a motion for it.
I'll make the motion to, here it is. Yeah, to go from grade 7, step 10, up to grade 7, step 11.
Yep.
The step 10 was the annual increase. I figured it was about 2.5%.
Yes, at the top of the scale, we narrow down to 2.5%.
I'll make that motion. I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next regular city council meeting is scheduled for Monday, August 11th, 2025. Good on. Thank you.